Dreamlight Valley Adventure Series continues. Alex will be continuing to clean the valley with sudden finds and meeting more returning frenemies along the way. Will she ever learn fish are friends, not food? Adventure into a greedy playthrough, if you dare. Alex woke up from her nap at the office. Thankfully, she found a place to hide away from her sisters. Even though they were her boss and she was only a 5-minute break at most, she thought this was the best way to use her time. And plus, they would never expect a thing. When she got outside, she was going to check her mail, but she realized there was no mail to check. So she decided it was time to open her opportunities with a man no other than Scrooge himself. As she will soon find out, Alex introduces herself rather casually, but in a way that seemed rather competitive. She liked that Scrooge was intense about his money. She was too no doubt about it. But she wanted him to know that even though he invested in money a lot longer, she was younger. That means faster at it. I mean, selling meals and gardening all the time could outbeat him, right? Right? And speaking of the valley, there was a lot to be done around here these next few days, with Nightthorn picking and figuring out how to make the valley seem like her. And she sadly realized that power will never give her infinite resources to instantly make this valley perfect. She hated decorating the most. She felt her anxiety get the best of her when thinking and talking about it, but she took a deep breath and said, Alex didn't know at the time, but a tiny little spark of light formed within that anxiety. Whether or not she acted on it was more so a test of time and encounters. Alex saw that these characters had trauma as well, but from the forgetting. It seemed to trap them with their thoughts and forget everything around them, losing their truth and become soulless like a zombie. It didn't care about them, but she knew that didn't change the fact about her own trauma. She realized they put their own feelings into boxes and somehow dealt with it better. That's how they stayed positive all the time. Was that always a good thing? Alex thought being human was a better deal because it made people work harder for what they want, and you could actually tell when someone is faking their mood. A deal with Scrooge? Alex hoped there was no funny business involved. She didn't like getting into anything that didn't involve something that benefited her. Will this royal tool make her the greatest person alive and best everyone? She smiled at her future royal throne, and the fact was, she definitely would not be getting one, bursting Alex's bubble. As she kept talking to Scrooge, she was quite excited to discovering what else the valley had, and obviously getting a new tool that could help her expand. And who knows what else could await her further down. But she didn't realize until later that she would have to deal with giant rocks as well with her new unlock. Scrooge waved his cane around in front of her. Hello, are you listening? Why does your eyes gleam like you just saw a precious gem? She finally went to get the pickaxe from the stone, but she ended up questioning whether she truly had strength in her arms, or maybe she still had karate technique from when she was a child, wrestling with her siblings 2-1. She shouldn't have smiled at that or the fact that it fit the moment when the sky turned light as day. Let there be dreamlight once again. She wasn't prepared for all the obstacles she would have to remove during her cleanup of the peaceful meadow. Rocks, night thorns, and mushrooms all squished into one area of the map. She could not imagine being locked in her house like all the characters were. How they stayed positive, Alex will never know. Finding things on the ground made her joyous though, especially because it reminded her of cleaning her sister's rooms and finding money. Alex was slowly seeing progress. So as someone who was proud of herself with all the pleasant work she's accomplished by herself, she gave herself a pat on the back. She may be anxious, but she also knows what she wants. She loves complimenting herself because it builds a bigger ego with someone who has sisters that love to bring her down with them. Hey, you leveled up again. Who's a good little pet giving me a furniture item that I probably will never use? Hold on a second, was that seriously a farewell gift? This won't be Alex's first heartbreak from a realization, no less from a companion. But the item seemed to be made just for her. Lack was her middle name, taken by her stepfather as a baby. So obviously she had to love the color, but even then she noticed she always gravitated towards it. And no, not just because she played the Addams Family on repeat. As she got closer to what could be an outside greenhouse, she felt the sudden urge to plant here. But it wasn't usable. It seemed to her that it was made for someone else, which made Alex see red. Gardening was her big escape when things got too loud. And when someone steals her spotlight, you better run. Another note seemed to catch her eye, which made her anger diffuse, but her confusion take the front seat. Who's Goofy? It would have made better sense if Alex wasn't so impatient to read and pick up everything all at once. She felt like she should know the writer of these notes, and if they were as happy as the rest of the characters. Most importantly, she wondered what would happen once she found all of them. Maybe there's a pot of gold at the end of a rain session? She would like to think, forgetting all about the meaning of the note. She was only here for a short time, and somehow thrown into childhood memories full of hope, wonder, and friendship. Something she dreamt of having when she was younger. Not anymore as a grown adult. She couldn't miss her childhood like other people could, because she didn't have much to miss, and that was something she was sad and calm over. Meeting Goofy was a lot. He was the most positive of the lot so far, and she knew already that he didn't have an ounce of evil or unhappiness in him. If only it was like that with Alex, but she tossed that out of her mind immediately. Never. Further speaking with Goofy, Alex confirmed that she couldn't imagine being friends with anyone, let alone with him. She grew up alone, and when she did make friends for once, her sisters would trick them into being their only friend. She could only rely on herself after a time. That was the sad truth. She noticed that the fishing rod wasn't hers to start with. In fact, it was his. He got the better end of the deal. But that just made her more curious. Would she be able to upgrade her tool in the long run, or would she be stuck with the same tool as long as she was here? Alex would have to wait and see. Impatient and all. another royal tool. She wondered how many tasks she could complete with so many in her belt now. And fishing was something she wasn't familiar with. So this could be interesting and tricky because she would have to deal with slimy fish. Unlike her favorite activity that involved gloves when she wanted to pick ready vegetables and fruit. Okay, so she had to admit, fishing wasn't so bad, especially with coin in her pocket soon enough by selling her catch. It probably wasn't the best way to earn money, unlike gardening and possibly mining the gems from the ore that she saw, but she was happy enough to sell something for the first time. Alex didn't think she would have to build Goofy's stall first before being able to sell, but she did. Thankfully, it didn't involve manual labor, but it did involve the coin she got from cleaning up the valley. What's worse, she definitely did not want to deal with the reality of it, so she blocked it out and built the remaining bits of the stall so she didn't have to think about it later either. She's harshly broke from upgrading Goofy's stall 3 times, but she stood tall because she knew she could easily get the money back thanks to her beauty and brains. Was it going to be easy? No, but she hoped that she would have more than before. She didn't think the peaceful meadow was going to be a grind fest with activities when she just got here a couple days ago, but she was thankful she had a place to finally sell her goods now. And now she was off to help Scrooge open his shop and tell someone all about her accomplishments in the valley. Alex was way too excited to see what was inside Scrooge's shop that she forgot that she didn't even have enough to build it. She contemplated on what to do, except that she remembered she still has to sell her fish and another item. Hopefully that would suffice. And it did. This was worth the wait. The reopening was finally here. She knew how he felt with money, except she felt that way with clothes. Except she was too broke still to purchase anything. She wasn't expecting money from Scrooge. How surprising. Only $400? Alex could barely keep that thought in her head, and Scrooge frowned in response, waddling away into the building, mumbling under his breath. She wouldn't dare. What an ungrateful child. Alex's jaw dropped when she entered the building. The shop was abundant with items, cheaper than she imagined. Would it stay like this, or would the items get more expensive? No matter, she bought all the things she could buy, whether or not she needed them for later. She was in her happy place, and that's why she loved working. Until she looked at her watch and gasped. She stayed way too long and needed to get back to work, where things weren't so grand and definitely didn't go her way like here. She felt like she had control in Dreamlight Valley, where she could destroy or fix things at her will, without a say from anyone. Things felt safe, and somewhere deep inside, she remembered that cozy feeling, until she suddenly woke from the dream that she was in before she had a chance to get back. Bad timing.